Are you still on the fence when it comes to upgrading to iOS 13 because of all the bugs that people have been reporting? Well, iOS 13.1 that was released on September 24, it claims to have squished most of those bugs. So do let us know if they have been done or not. But then again, this is Overdrive, right? We are here to talk about cars. So why am I talking about iOS 13? Well, if you haven't yet decided whether or not you should upgrade to iOS 13, maybe now would be a good time to decide, because what we have here right now is the new CarPlay that iOS 13 brings to the table. And there are a host of updates, a host of new menus, and a completely different design that is certainly something that you should look forward to. That's the reason that got me excited, and I have upgraded to iOS 13 on my phone. And let me show you what I have found so far with the new CarPlay. So first things first, there is an all new layout. It's more of a tile layout, a multi-window layout. That's something that we've seen with other smartphones, and now that comes to CarPlay, and I think it's a big advantage. So what you have here right now is one big screen for the navigation. There's one small screen for the audio, one screen for favorites, and then you also get an extra screen or an extra widget or an extra pane for the Siri suggestions. So that's, I think, a very nice layout. Why this is helpful? Well, it's self-explanatory, but still let me get into the detail. You have the maps right here, so you can have your navigation running, and at the same time you know what audio is playing. You have controls for your audio right here. You don't have to keep cycling between the navigation and the audio player like you would in the previous CarPlay. The other good thing is you can also customize the color now. So we always had dark mode on the CarPlay, and on the phone or the iPad or even the Mac, you had a brighter display, and then you have the new dark mode now with all these devices. Here is the other way around. You always had a dark mode, and now you can have a brighter mode if you want. Now there's an automatic mode, so essentially looking at the time of the day, it can change it from a bright to a dark or a dark to a bright. So this is the dark mode, very similar to what we had earlier. Put it on automatic and everything is now brighter. I think it also goes nicely with this particular cabin. So we'll leave it on bright for now. It will also help you see these changes much better. So now for the home screen, you had an older iPhone kind of a button right here on the CarPlay. Now with no new iPhones getting that button, it was time that even this changed. So you have a new way to go back to the home screen. So there's a toggle, in fact. So this essentially shows that this is a multi-window layout, the multi-tile layout that we talked about. So if you click on that, then you come back to this layout, or if you see multiple squares, that essentially takes you back to the regular CarPlay menu. And I think that's a very nice thing. And you can still summon Siri using that. Long press this and it will summon Siri. On some of the cars, you have the voice recognition feature on the steering itself. You have a switch for it. But on some of the cars, that summons the car's digital assistant and not Siri. So if you are in a car like that, then you can always long press this and you can summon Siri. Now the good thing about it is Siri is now transparent. That's another very good feature. Now you may remember from the previous CarPlay that Siri would be a complete screen in itself. Whenever you would summon Siri, your navigation or your music, whatever window is open, that would completely turn black and you would have the Siri there. Now it's transparent. It lays on top of whatever is your background. So in case again you're running navigation, you still have your navigation data running in the backdrop, which is a very good thing. Another thing that I like, especially with this style layout, is the navigation is right here. Like I said, so you get your navigation data right here. But what I really like now is the phone can operate independent of CarPlay and vice versa. Now you may have often come across this scenario, I have quite often, where the co-passenger is doing the navigation for me. So I'm using the co-passenger's phone for the Apple CarPlay, but that essentially means that they can't use anything on the phone, because if they do, the navigation goes off. Now that doesn't happen with the new CarPlay and the new iOS 13.1 or iOS 13 for that matter. So you can do whatever you want on your phone, but whatever screen you have set up is going to be what will be shown to you on your infotainment screen. So I think that's a very, very big positive for the new CarPlay. One other big update, and I think a very important one, is to the music app. The music app now shows you album art. There are many people who love album art. They want to see what the album art is all about, and you get that right here on the screen. On the previous one, it was in the backdrop, completely blurred out. I think the thought behind that was it does distract, the album art does distract people from what they're doing, that is essentially driving. But there are people who asked for it, and finally Apple has agreed, and there is album art now. In fact, the whole music app has been given a bit of a makeover, in fact a huge makeover. So you now have all the same menus or icons that you had previously, but they are better laid out. Everything is easier to access and it's just nicely laid out. Especially in this brighter shade, it really looks good. And what is perhaps the most important update to the CarPlay from a driving point of view is the new do not disturb while driving function. So you activate that the moment you activate CarPlay. You can leave it that way, so the moment you plug in your phone, it will activate do not disturb. So that essentially will not disturb you while you are driving. There will be no phone calls, there will be no notifications, everything will be silenced, and only when you look at the phone you will get them. So that I think is a very nice feature. It won't distract you much. It can also auto reply when someone from your favorites list calls you, and that I think is a very nice thing. So it will just tell them that you are driving right now and you don't want to be disturbed, and that's about it. So this little moon sign that you get on the menu tells you that the do not disturb mode is activated. Other little update to the calendar app is that if you have any upcoming events, upcoming meetings, it will show all of that here, but it will also add an extra widget to show you what are the upcoming events from your calendar. So I think all these changes, though little, they all add up to make the CarPlay experience much better than what it was earlier. Now Apple, it has a habit of upgrading the iPad OS, the iOS, the Watch OS much quicker, but CarPlay has taken a while, but I'm glad it has happened. Now, like I said, I've just about upgraded to iOS 13 to get this new CarPlay because I was all excited about it. So I may have missed out on a few features, but if you know of what features I've missed out on, or if you have any tips and tricks, do use the comment section below. Let us know about it, and we'll like to talk about it, or at least look forward to finding out more about the new CarPlay. But like I said right at the beginning, if you're still wondering whether or not you should get iOS 13, well, if you have an iPhone, if you're already a part of this ecosystem, and if your car supports CarPlay, I think you should get iOS 13 because this is something that is definitely worth upgrading to. It's a much safer, much better, much more richer CarPlay experience, and I think that is something that we could all look forward to.